sponsors again. I don't remember whether or not the Seth and Drew match was brought to us by Dude Wipes, but it did occur to me that given the allegations specifically against Vince McMahon and everything he was accused of doing, allegedly, well, no, he wasn't allegedly accused. He was accused of doing the alleged things. Maybe Dude Wipes is not the... It's a little too on the nose. Or, hey, when you're doing God knows what on your paralegal's head.
He'll never give up. He'll stay till the fight's won. Bob Hansen is there. Bob Hansen, your wacky next door neighbor. Bob Hansen is there. Bob Hansen. Yowza.
Whoa. WrestleMania, fighting to survive. Pump it up. Hey, what's going on, Bob Squad? Odie, thank you for joining me, buddy. Always good to see my gentle little man. I dry your tears. Hold on. Daddy dries your tears. Daddy always dries your little tears. Yes, he does. Oh, I hope you had a nice dinner. He had a lamb medley, and Chloe, she's probably off camera. Chloe had the chicken paw pie. Okay, we had a nice time, huh? We had a nice meal. Night 2 of WeatherMania. Daddy CM Punk enters right at the end of the countdown because he's going to commentate the first match. Hey, I knew it. Seth was going to be the last match of the first night and the first match of the second night. And what do you say? What do you know? Tip the veal, try the waitress. God Bless America is sang by somebody. I give it 4 1/4 stars. Would have been better in the Tokyo Dome. I made that joke in the last one. Stephanie McMahon is here to say hello. And she does. And when she says she was 8 years old, she was best friends with Andre the Giant. That's not what she said. She said a lot of WrestleManias have happened, and this is one of them. And there's bagpipes. And CM Punk says sacrilege to the bagpipes because the bagpipes are playing the theme song of the Brave, the something, or Heart of the Brave. I don't know. Who knows? No one knows, right, Odie? No one has any idea. You cheers. They dry your little tears. And that's Roddy Piper's music, so that's Punk's hero. So Punk insinuates that Drew McIntyre had this played specifically to take a shot at CM Punk. I was trying to sneeze before I hit record, and I couldn't, so now we're just stuck. My sneeze is stuck. But Drew McIntyre wasn't stuck as he comes out to his music and he's taunting CM Punk, and Seth Rollins comes out and 98 guys in super colorful outfits are all freaking out and they're playing his song with trumpets and everyone's excited, and Seth is, I don't know what he's dressed like. There's no cartoon character that I can pinpoint that looks as outrageous as Seth Rollins did. But whatever. Sorry for the sniffling, and he was very colorful. Oh yes, the Electric Mayhem Band was, I think, the name of the people who played Seth Rollins out to the thing. And the match starts with a Claymore. Drew hits the finish right away, and some people are teased into thinking it'll be a quick 1, 2, 3, but it is not. And they have the match, and Seth Rollins is selling his knee, and he's selling his back, and he's in agony. He's, hi. You're a good little fellow. You are my fellow. Oh, you're a good man. That's how much attention I'm paying. Sorry, for this thing. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of Claymores. There's a lot of them. And then Drew McIntyre finally gets the pin on Seth Rollins. And then Drew holds his belt because he gets his, you can say belt now in pro wrestling, belt. He holds it. How about that? And he says, he just starts crying. I have emotions. Shut up, idiot. Stop all your emotions. But he's crying. He's a dastardly heel who's looking to take this thing which he feels he deserves, but he hasn't quite earned back. I'll stop sniffling, I promise. He's crying. And then he taunts CM Punk, and then first Drew says hello to his wife or something. And Drew's standing on a commentator's table, and he's taunting CM Punk. Hey, I won the thing. Look at it. I'm holding the thing. And Drew does the DX crotch chop because it's 1998. And Punk sweeps Drew's leg Is someone yelling? It's children. My neighbors had children at some point, I assume. Hi, buddy. I got my babies. I got my babies. They're so much quieter. Yes, I love you. You're my furry friend. You are. Anyway. Then CM Punk takes his arm brace off and he waffles Drew McIntyre over the shoulder with it or something. And Damian Priest finally cashes in his thingy that he won way back as a youth in 2023. And he pins Priest. God, no, he doesn't. He doesn't pin himself. Priest pins Drew McIntyre after he hits his finishing maneuver. It's like a choke slam, but he also sits down, which adds something to it, I guess. I don't understand, but whatever. 1, 2, 3. There you go. The bad guy finally foiled the bad guy after the bad guy got foiled by the good guy. There you go. Everybody's happy. The next match was a surprise highlight of the night. There's a 6-man tag. It's a Philadelphia street fight. Oh, yes. They all have sponsors again. I don't remember whether or not the Seth and Drew match was brought to us by Dude Wipes. But it did occur to me that given the allegations specifically against Vince McMahon and everything he was accused of doing, allegedly, well, no, he wasn't allegedly accused. He was accused of doing the alleged things. Maybe Dude Wipes is not the... It's a little too on the nose. Or, hey, when you're doing God knows what on your paralegal's head, have a dude wipe hand. Okay. Well, Gin and Juice Cocktails is our sponsor for the next match. And Snoop Dogg is just here. His cousin's wrestling in front of 18 people. Excuse me. Snoop Dogg is here. And something. He commentates. I'm not kidding. They put Snoop Dogg in the commentator's position. My nose is itchy. I trimmed my nose hairs earlier. You're welcome. And Snoop is hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious here. He calls a table. Oh, yeah, this is a 6-man no rules match, which should have taken away from the main event match with no rules, but I think people forgot because this was so silly. But people are screaming, Bubba Ray Dudley is old, and he was the referee for this match because they're in Philadelphia and there's no rules. So we're living in the past. 3,000 years of beautiful tradition from Moses to Sandy Koufax. God damn right, I'm living in the past. Shomer Shabbos. Corey Graves claims that Paul Ellering has never been at a WrestleMania, but Paul Ellering was on camera at WrestleMania 8 in 1992 when the Road Warrior, the Legion of Doom, returned with Paul Ellering this time to make no point but take a very long time to do it at WrestleMania 8. So Paul Ellering has been at WrestleMania before. I should not have left the kitchen window open. Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice cocktail thing is sponsoring the match that Snoop Dogg is announcing for. Did I make any notes? No. Snoop's hilarious because he doesn't know anyone's names and he's reacting like a fan who doesn't see this every day. So they pull out a table. He's like, oh, they got a picnic table. Where's Yogi Bear? Boo boo. He's out of his mind. And oh, they got a kendo stick. Oh, for real? For real? Oh, girl, you got to watch your back. You got to watch your back, girl. Hilarious. And he was cracking Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. And they alluded that everyone had smoked marijuana cigarettes beforehand. How about that, right? There is a table, and it is pre-cut. And we knew it because it broke before it broke. I forget who was on it. One of the bad guys, I guess Karrion Kross, was laying on his table in the middle of the ring. And the damn thing broke before it was supposed to. But thankfully, Montez Ford had not yet jumped. So they just hit him with another finish or something and then set up another table. Rinse and repeat. It'll be fine in the replay. There's always the chance and the jeering and everything else, but I don't think people they kind of let it go. They were having too much fun. Slim Jim is back, and Slim Jim sponsors the next match. I wish I had some chips here. Chips? Yeah, gotta have beef, gotta have spice, looking for a little excitement, snap into a Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah, bye, Odie. Odie, I washed his blanket today. Odie was a little sick last night. He threw up on his blankie, and I think it upset him. But I have a spare towel he likes, so he got to sleep in that and use that as a blankie. And then this morning I washed his blankie, and now he's very happy. So you can't see, he's enjoying his blankie. So Odie is a happy little guy. LA Knight is sponsored by Slim Jim, and so is the match. And LA Knight wrestles AJ Styles, and I panicked because AJ Styles has new music. And there's that new music warning. When you got new music, you're probably going to win because they got to play it twice to get their money's worth. But was not the case. LA Knight tried to do a pile driver on the concrete floor after pulling the ring mat back, but instead he took a backdrop on the concrete. But he still hit his finishing maneuver, the blunt force trauma thing, and he pinned AJ Styles 1, 2, 3, which is how you pin people. Wasn't that exciting? I liked it. It was simple, it was basic, it wasn't going to do anything. It could have been the match to outshine everyone, and had it been presented in some kind of big main event, championship at stake type of thing, but it really wasn't. It was a get them both on the show type of match, and a feud with... They did some weird, wacky things to build it, but nothing that's really going to stand in your head. LA Knight said AJ Styles' front lawn for some reason at one point. They had some skirmishes at some press conferences and stuff. They tried. So it wasn't completely about... Just so it wasn't a cold match, really, is what they were doing. So there's no WrestleMania, no reason matches, but a little forced, but we all kind of knew. So this match wasn't designed to be any super dramatic show stealer. It was a have a back and forth, put over LA Knight strong enough so we're reminded he's a contender. Okay, that's all it is. We're reminding us LA Knight is still a guy. And he's still a guy, to my knowledge. I haven't checked lately. Logan Paul defends the U.S. Championship. He comes out in a ridiculously long truck, and he has a big Prime Energy drink plastic thing, which is actually a gun, but it made fireworks explode, but it didn't shoot anything, and I thought it was going to shoot an absurd amount of liquid all over the people. It did not. And he's coming to the ring with a Prime Energy mascot, a guy dressed up as his Prime Energy. Did I mention yesterday several days ago when I did the night one thing that the Prime logo was in the middle of the ring, first for WrestleMania? Isn't that exciting? Yeah, what happens? Anyway, the blinds are blowing if you're wondering what that noise is. Kevin Owens runs into Sami Zayn backstage. He should have looked where he was going. And Owens rides a golf cart to the ring, and then Randy Orton enters, and Randy Orton likes to take his time, so he thought this would take a minute. But Owens backs up the ramp, picks up Randy Orton, takes off down the ramp. You can see Orton telling him like this, slow down, you're going to kill us both. But that was a cute little nod to golf carts. And I rewatched this match. And I'm glad I did because I liked it better the second time. This is fun. Sorry. The two of them, the two baby faces, Orton and Kevin Owens, smacking Logan around, taking turns. Eventually they're going to collide because they're going to get the pin. You kind of know how this story goes. I think that's really the only way that hurt this. You kind of... The same way tag team matches can be extremely formulaic. Honestly, the three-way can be very formulaic. It had the formulaic opening, the formulaic middle, and the formulaic finish, which we'll get there. There was a bunch of things. Some stupid TikToker streamer guy whose name I don't care about turned out to be the guy to reveal he's in the Prime thing. And this little twerp barks at Randy Orton and shoves Orton for real. And you can see Orton, he's 44 and jacked. Do I not kill this kid? So he boots the kid down and rips the Prime mask thing off and gives the kid the RKO through the table and does away with them, and that was great. I'd be fine with him doing the super punt to the head that he used to do to that kid. So lay it in, I don't care. Anyway, they do the finish, you would think. They find a way to get Orton to RKO Owens, but then Logan can do a quick toss out of Orton and get the quick pin on KO, which they did. That's the three-way finish, and that's the three-way opening, and they did them both. But everybody was good here. Everybody was super athletic, for a guy who has, 6-7 matches under his belt. Logan Paul is very good. Even little stumbles and kerfluffles, Orton could always you cover for, and Owens can as well. Like, Logan's extremely athletic. He had a tiny, tiny hiccup, not a critique at all. It just happens, doing his front flip from the ring apron, hardest part of the ring, into the ring to do the lariat thing that better than that cowboy idiot on the other channel does. He had a little bit of a stumble, but Orton still snatched him up and had no trouble completing the power slam and not dropping him on his head at the same time. Landed him nice and flat. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I guess that was the finish. That's the thing with 3-ways and 4-ways. The champion almost always retains. So that is a little bit of a tip of the hat to, hey, this will be the finish, which is kind of a bummer. I guess that's the only thing that hurt it, is that, oh, we have to go by the formula. And I love Kevin Owens. I think Orton versus Logan just would have been more fun. But then Owens, I'm not too big on the whole, well, if someone main evented last year in WrestleMania, and really the last 2 WrestleManias he did, because Austin was 2 years ago and last year was the Usos. I'm not so big on, oh, if they main event one year, that means they have to be pretty close to the main event the next year. Not necessarily. But I do believe they should be on the card if they're still in the company. They can't have too much of a drop-off. Because that also hurts your announcers, because the announcers got to talk about stuff. So you don't want the announcers to have to avoid mentioning last year altogether. That's kind of silly. My voice is going. That's a lot better. So Owens did have to be on a card, and I can't think of anything else he would have done. Would he have been the guy to wrestle Gunther instead of Sammy? No, probably not. In hindsight, Sammy was the better choice. I don't know what else Owens could have done, honestly. How many times has Owens wrestled AJ Styles? A million of those. I don't really know where else he would have fit. So I guess I kind of get the 3-way thing. It's not my favorite, but Orton and Logan can still be done. But now at this point, if Orton beats Logan, it's kind of like, the moment has passed. And that means you got to beat Orton. So it's kind of, I don't know. LA Knight and Logan Paul might be entertaining. And Logan Paul needs a cool babyface, because he's so cool of a heel. Orton's beloved, and Owens is pretty loved as well, so it worked. But if your babyface is remotely dorky, and sorry because I like Ricochet, but Ricochet is kind of dorky, it hurt the Ricochet Logan thing they did at SummerSlam last year. If Logan Paul is sparring on the microphone with like a dork, it doesn't. Even if Logan Paul is trying, he's still going to end up looking too cool. Even if he's trying not to. It's just not going to happen. Again, we let it go with Rey Mysterio, but not for very long. That Rey Mysterio-Logan Paul match did not have a lot of build. And that probably helped it. Moving on, Bayley comes out to an Egyptian entrance, and she has wings, but the wings are crooked. Doesn't really matter. Io Sky stumbles down the ramp. I'm not kidding. Was she drinking? Who's her agent? Arn Anderson? Too deep? Okay. No, she does her thing. Damage Control all looked amazing here. I want to marry all of them. I said that already. It's creepy, so I should not say that. Io Sky and Bayley wrestled this match. I rewatched this match as well, and again, I liked it way better the second time. Like, this is a good match. The live viewing, for me, didn't work. The fans going into business for themselves with their stupid chants, and they wouldn't let the Bayley song go, and it's cute up top. I don't even mind it up top. When it's like, oh, because Bayley has the shit-eating grin, like, they're doing my thing. Everyone's against you, Io, and it should give Io a chance to pout and frown and emote and all that stuff. That's fine. Whether Bayley was out wrestling Io or up top, or starting to get cut off, and Io's getting heat on Bayley or whatever, and then Bayley's coming back, they're still doing it. They're not listening. They're not watching. It just shows they're not they should be into the match. If they shut up for 3 seconds, they'd be into the match. They're getting themselves over, the audience. And WrestleMania audiences are way more international. Sorry. This shit started in Europe, okay? It did. Whenever NXT did one of their first UK things in 2016 or 17, I want to say. I think Bayley was playing around with Nia Jax at the time. Maybe it was 2015 then. It started then, and anytime they go a little bit out of the States, they start the stupid ooh-ah thing, and it's, pardon me, it's ugly. It hurts the whole match. You can't focus. Damage Control did like a 6-woman tag in, maybe it was the Cardiff one last year, the one where Drew McIntyre didn't win or something like that. I forget. But either way, But Bayley could be a heel and be annoyed by it and be mad, and also she has 2 partners, so she doesn't have to get in a ring. So it'll fix itself. It's a one-on-one. They started to shut up a little bit during Bayley's comeback leading up to the finish. I was like, okay. But you see how my only talking point is the goddamn chant? That's the problem. I rewatched it, actively trying to tune out the chant, and it was better. They had a great match. They didn't, I was disappointed. I thought the audience was inadvertently screwing them both. And that's the thing, they kept mentioning Bayley's first singles match at WrestleMania. I think Io's best first or only match at WrestleMania at all, if I'm not mistaken. So, no, probably not, because there would have been... Oh, last year was the 6 women with the Becky, Lita, Trish, and whatever. Probably Bayley, Dakota, Io. Okay, so whatever. Definitely Io's first singles. Gotta be. I mean, it has to be. So anyway, but then again, she's a heel. Well, we don't want to feel good towards her, so that's fine. Announcers were great all weekend. There's no good time to bring it up, so I'll just bring it up now. Pat McAfee's fun. It's a lot more fun when the guys don't need the job. Michael Cole, man, he's more relaxed. He's having a good time. And what are they supposed to do with Snoop? Keep a straight face? That's not what that match was for. Bayley hits the top rope elbow like the Macho Man. Freak out. Maybe I am insane. Yeah. And Bayley has that wacky, weird, put a leg over your head, dippity-doo. I don't know what it is, honestly. I think the suplex was better, but it's fine. People understood. Speaking of the ooh-ahs, Io got an ooh-ah chant doing a handstand out of Bayley's finish, the first attempt. Io hit a bunch of moonsaults. She sold the surprise that Bayley kicked out of her moonsault at one point. They worked hard, they kicked ass, and unfortunately this is a match that will look better and sound better in post-production videos and whatnot than watching it live the first time. Live the second time was way better. I enjoyed it more, which is kind of weird and sad, because now I know the finish, it's old news, but it was hard for me to enjoy the wrestling with that stupid chant. Nothing to do with the talent. Talent was excellent. This will be good. Bayley will be good. And Damage Control still has those tag belts. So there's just stuff. There's meat on the bone there. And Dakota's doing a good job talking for him. Moving on, the main event, the biggest match of the year, the biggest match of several years. I had to take the dogs right after Io Sky lost to Bayley. I took the dogs out to go to the bathroom, knowing that even Roman's entrance alone will take 7-8 minutes, and then plus Cody's, and there'll be a package. So I knew I could squeeze in a good 12-minute walk, and blah, blah, blah. I just wrote Cody something, and then I wrote nothing. Okay, so cool. Cody Rhodes, daddy. What about him? I forgot. Do you remember? He's in the main event of WrestleMania, and I didn't see his entrance, but I guess he wore like a skull thing, like his logo. And Brandy Rhodes came out in one of her wrestling singlets, and she walked into the ramp. And then Roman Reigns made a big slow entrance, and there was a choir, and they played his song, and Paul Heyman and the Lays, and yada, 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 yada. No rules. I need to lean on my cane here, Daddy. No rules helped the match, which I almost never say. But in this case, it's a rematch of last year. So if it's a rematch of last year, they can't run the risk of having the same match again from last year. Not to mention, these two wrestled 24 hours before on the same show. So they can't. And the tag match sort of had rules. Kind of, actually not really. So the bells and whistles were almost needed here because they wrestled a year ago and they wrestled a day ago. So how are we doing this here? How many different matches can these guys have to main event WrestleMania with? So it kind of needed it. And they had their brawl, and they hit a lot of finishes, a lot of kickouts. Cody really relied heavily on the crossroads rolling, doing it 3 times type of deal. He did it a lot, But this match was about the moment and not the match. You know what it reminded me of? I'll just tell you, it goes faster that way. The two Shawn Michaels Undertaker WrestleMania matches. The first year, which is Mania 25, 2009, the match was about the match. Like, that was a great, great match. And I thought last year, up until the finish we all hated and whatever, that's history now. The match that ended my hardest part of the Ring podcast. Cody Rhodes and Roman had an awesome match last year, a great match. But this year, the match wasn't about the match was about the finish. Just like in 2010 with Shawn and The Undertaker, the match was about the finish, not about the match. So both cases, the first match was the way better match. Oh, The Rock and Cena did 2 years in a row, and honestly, the first match was better, and the second match was about the finish. Second year, Cena got his thing back. Oddly enough, Cena and Rock show up here. Wouldn't you know? I almost said, wouldn't you know who won the pony, like a true Cornette cult guy, but I didn't, but I did. Oh, I don't remember too much about this match, and I was completely invested. I was staring at the screen on the edge of my seat. Lots going on here. Jimmy shows up and to kick Cody during one of Cody's attempted finishes, and Jay shows up in a brawl to the ramp, and instead of fighting off, as they say, Jay spears Jimmy off a ramp and they fall through some tables, so they're both taken out. And I hate to see these guys take these bumps, but at the same time, I guess we needed an excuse to have them not come back. Which brings out Solo, who gives Cody the thumb, and then he takes the spear, and Cody keeps kicking out. Then Solo and Roman do the spear thumb combination. Here's a part I bet you no one is thinking about right now. Solo yelling at Roman. Does anyone remember this? He did. He yelled at Roman to get up, get up, get up. And he never saw him boss Roman around. And I don't think it was a timing thing. I think it was a deliberate loud. Look at Solo getting frustrated with Roman. We're planting our seeds, Daddy. We're planting some seeds. We're like Will Chamberlain. We're planting seeds all over the place. Oh, gross. He has sex with a lot of women, is what I'm saying. But anyway, Solo pulls up Roman, and they do the double finish. And that was one of those times where I was kind of like, oh, they're not doing it. They might. And Cody kicks out, and blah, blah, blah. John Cena shows up, and he doesn't give up. He makes his way to the blah, 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 and he beats up Solo. I forget what he does to Solo. I don't know if he gives him the fish drop and the can't see me. Maybe just gives him an FU either over the top rope or through one of the tables. I don't remember. I can't remember. It's too much going on. John Cena dispatches a Solo, and then out comes the final boss, The Rock. Stare down between The Rock and Cena. Cena swings at a miss rock bottom. Oh my goodness. That's pandemonium. Lights go out. The big dong slacks you right in the face. And The Undertaker's there with his big dong, and he choke slams The Rock, and then there's another big dong that hits us all over the shoulder, and The Undertaker disappears. And even though he's later, there's internet footage of him just running away with security guys, and Taker's hoofing it. Good for him. But anyways, we didn't think we'd see The Undertaker. I thought the glass was going to break. And I'm not disappointed it didn't. I thought the glass would break and Stone Cold Steve Austin would make an appearance. Steve Austin never gets involved in the multiple legend segments of any kind. I think this would have been the one big enough where it would have been okay. He knows not to devalue his name and make him one of three, most of the time, one of three guys, even though there was a WrestleMania segment where him, Foley, and Shawn Michaels, and maybe, I think the Hulkster beat up some foreign heels in 2014, but what's done is done. Anyway, I think he's not tainting or maybe they didn't contact him. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I thought the glass would break, though. But this was fine. Those are two colossal surprises. John Cena and The Undertaker. And The Rock we knew we'd see, we just didn't know when. That was a matter of when. The other two were like, Cena made sense because he was involved. Taker was just, I'm here. I'm The Undertaker. What are you going to do? Kind of like the cowboy coming back one last time just to right the wrong. And it still works with The Undertaker. And he chokeslams The Rock. There you go. What happens next? Pretty quickly. Oh, Seth Rollins. That's right. At some point in the middle of this, Seth Rollins comes to the ring in Shield music and Shield gear, And now Roman has Cody under control. He has Cody down. Roman has the chair, and he looks at Seth, and it's almost 10 years. It's like in 2 months it'll be 10 years since that happened. He remembers when Seth hit him with the chair and broke up the Shield, and he sees Seth, and he looks at Cody, looks at Seth, Cody, Seth, Cody, Seth. His anger, he can't let it go. Even 10 years later, he's still mad about it. He can't let go of his anger and his hatred, very Yoda-like. He chooses to hit Seth out of vengeance with the chair to get that monkey off his back, and that's all Cody needed to hook his finish 3 times, 3 crossroads, 1, 2, 3, the biggest moment in wrestling history since Brock beat Taker. So in my opinion, and Brock beat Taker, and also my opinion, was the biggest thing to happen maybe since Hogan slammed Andre. There was definitely big stuff in the middle. Mike Tyson counting the 3 for Austin would be a big one, but there was stuff. There's definitely other stuff, but I think in 10 years since Brock beat Undertaker, this was this Cody ending this title reign was colossal. Not much else to say here. Tons of emotion. Wrestling fans crying left and right. Everyone's just crying and crying at their stupid feelings. Samantha Irving, who I used to not be on board with. If you remember my Hardest Part of the Ring podcast, I was very anti-Samantha. And in the last several months, she's won me over. I think she's gotten a little more creative freedom, and maybe she grew on me, but I think the Chelsea Green version of her announcement for me was just too much. I'm like, it was a little too much for me. You're taking me out of it. And I thought the accents she would do for Gunther and his Imperium group were a little much. Like, why are we doing the accent just because that's the country he's from? It's kind of, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite, but I gotta say, the emotion she brought, and I hope they don't overdo it or make her force her or make her fake do it, because it felt real to me. I think it was. I'm gonna go with that. I'm glad they gave her a coat, for fuck's sake. She's gonna die out there. Everyone's getting hypothermia. What can you say about, first of all, Cody and Roman going out there 2 nights in a row in 40-degree weather in cold bodies taking bumps? I'll say this about Roman Reigns, just the physical part, because you can go on about his title reign for 8 days, and I won't. I saw some fans, look how old and tired Roman Reigns looked on night 2. Go to hell. 2 nights in a row, the guy is bumping in the cold. I don't care what warm-up exercises. Take the leukemia out of it if we're going to bust the guy's balls. Jesus Christ. That should be enough to shut anybody up, honestly. But since apparently it isn't, I don't care what warm-ups Roman Reigns does before his music hits. He's got to slowly walk to the ring, a very long walk, and stand there. It's going to be 10-12 minutes before he locks up and moves with anybody. He's going to get cold again. No matter, I don't care if he's running a 3K back there, a 6K, whatever, which is 3.1 miles. I don't care what he's doing back there. Do all the calisthenics you want. You're going to get cold out there, especially like that. So, he went through a lot. All those guys, even everyone who wrestled this weekend, even once, all in 40-something degree weather, they're all, I know what that ring feels like when it's cold, and it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. So, Roman toughed it out and gave a hell of a performance on, I don't know how much time I guess he's taking some considerable time off. Never say never. I'm sure he'll be back at some point, but he didn't leave us hanging. Just like Shawn did it for Austin, and Perfect did it for Brett at one point. He left even more of himself in the ring there. And Undertaker did it for Roman one year too, when he just shouldn't have been out there, but he gave even more when he should not have been out there. So I thought those were enough good examples. You get the idea. Big emotional celebration from Cody. Several wrestlers were out there saying hello, and he's hugging people left and right, and yada, 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 yada. It went on for a very long time, and if you're a cynical asshole, you could just shut it off or enjoy the moment because you're already there. So I hope you enjoyed the moment, and this was a hell of a WrestleMania moment. Again, this would be the best match of the year already, easily, and I'm sure it will be, because it's emotion and it's building to that moment. Was it technically the match they had the year before? No, and who cares? It's a different story and a different match. It worked. It worked. They did the right thing, and I know. I guess Triple H doesn't like it being called the Triple H or the Paul Levesque era, but whatever the era is you want to call it, call it what you will. But it's outstanding, and Raw was just as good.